All right, good morning, guys. How's it going? I'll pull this up on my phone so I can see if there's any comments as we go along here. Just a second. If you guys can hear me okay, go ahead and put in the comment section that you can, whether you can or not, and then we'll get started. Okay, awesome. All right, so if you're here to learn about the shoulder mobility and how you can improve that, and how you can also decrease your risk for injury, you are in the right spot. Today we'll be going over the shoulder joint and doing a workshop where you guys can get some self-assessments to figure out where your shoulder mobility is at, and how you're doing with that. And also we're going to give you the 3 best exercises to improve shoulder mobility. All right. So that's going to be the topic for today. All right. Real quick, for those that don't know me, my name is Dr. Ben with Pro+Kinetix Physical Therapy and Performance. We specialize in helping people with shoulder injuries, whether that's lifting weights overhead, rock climbing, you name it. We specialize in helping those people get back to working out, get back to doing the activities that they enjoy. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. So we're going to start with an assessment to figure out where you guys are at and see where your restrictions may or may not be. Okay. So what we're going to do next is take a look at that by taking the right hand, reaching over the top, and then what you're going to do next is take your left arm and then try and touch. Okay, like so. All right. I want you guys to go ahead and do that both sides, and I'll kind of walk you through what this means if you're limited with this test. All right. So make sure to do it on both sides and see if there's any asymmetries. All right. A lot of times people can touch on one side and not the other. Okay, that's telling us that there may be some restrictions in one side that there isn't in the other. It can also be weakness as well. So go ahead and do that. Ideally, what we want to do is be able to touch. All right. If we're able to touch our fingers together behind our back, we're able to. That tells us that our risk for injury, shoulder injury, is pretty limited. Okay. We're not at high risk for that. Second is if we can get within, if we're not able to touch, but we're within a fist width, that tells us that we have a slight risk for injury. If we're outside of a fist width, that tells us we're at a higher risk for injury. Okay, so you guys should be done with that. So just make a mental note on kind of where you might be tight or where you might be struggling. All right. Next thing, what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this around. We're going to do one more assessment. All right. What we're going to do is I'm going to have you guys go up to a wall. This is going to be kind of tough in here because of this bar. All right. But essentially, what you guys are going to do is I want you guys to go up to against a wall. All right. And then what I want you to do is try to keep your elbows and your hands against the wall. All right. And then you are going to slide them up overhead and then back down. Okay. And try to keep the elbows and the hands against the wall. Don't compensate by flaring those ribs or arching the low back. Okay, what we don't want is this. Do you guys see how much I'm arching my low back? Okay, that's giving us compensation. We want to keep that back in contact with the wall the entire time. Okay, keep that core engaged, and then we're going overhead. Okay, so ideally we want to be able to get all the way over the top and be able to touch, okay, without compensation. If we're not able to do that, that's most likely some mobility restrictions, usually coming at the lat. Okay, the lat is a muscle that attaches to this underneath the armpit and attaches down here. Okay, so that's why especially if you feel like you really have to compensate and arch your low back to do so, that's really taking the lat off slack. Okay, it's giving that lat some slack to be able to move more freely. Okay, if it's tight. Okay, so that compensation tells us there's some lat tightness. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go after. I'm going to give you a few good exercises to loosen up this lat. okay? And then also loosen up the thoracic spine, okay? So the thoracic spine, so a lot of times when people think about shoulder injuries and you go see a doctor or a physical therapist or you're trying to treat yourself off of YouTube videos and stuff like that, a lot of times people just get so focused on just the shoulder joint, okay? When in reality, if we don't have good upper back mobility in that thoracic spine, it's gonna decrease our ability to reach overhead, okay? What I mean by that, let me get a chair here. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean by that. Okay, so if we're sitting with bad posture throughout the day, we're kind of rounded like this, okay? Our thoracic spine, our mid back is rounded, okay? If we sit up nice and tall, now we've got that mid back in a proper position, okay? But if we slouch, if I'm slouched and I got my thoracic spine rounded out and I go to reach overhead like this is as far as I can go, right? This is literally as far as my shoulder is going to allow me to go with my back rounded. Watch what happens if I just correct my thoracic spine and sit up nice and tall. Do you see how much extra range of motion I gain just by doing so? And I didn't even touch the shoulder joint. That's just manipulating the thoracic spine. Okay, so it's important, especially if somebody's been sitting for a long period of time and sits at a desk throughout the day, we want to be freeing up that thoracic spine. Okay, so we're going to go over some exercises to do to free that up, as well as the lat, because those are the two main restrictions I see. I haven't done an assessment on any of you guys, all right? So take it with a grain of salt. None of these should be painful, all right? If they're painful, stop, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this around. All right, we're gonna go after that thoracic spine. So what I want you to do is go ahead and I'm gonna assume everybody has a foam roller. If not, we're gonna make some, I'll show you how you can make some modifications to that as well. So I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and lay it on your back. You're gonna place that foam roller underneath kind of like the shoulder blade area, okay? We don't want to be going any lower than the shoulder blade, the bottom of the shoulder blade, or any higher than the top of the shoulder blade. We're not going to hurt ourselves or cause injury or anything. It's just we're not mobilizing the area that we're trying to target. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to place our hands behind our head, and then we are going to extend over the top, okay, and just do a couple oscillations there. You guys can let your elbows kind of flare out too. That's going to help loosen up the pec muscles in the front that tend to get tight as well if we're sitting for a long period of time. So all we're doing with this position is going into extension of that thoracic spine, the opposite motion of flexion, which is the position that we're sitting in quite a bit throughout the day if we're doing that with bad posture. All right, so we can do about 10 of these. And then what you can do is you can scoot your hips down and do the exact same thing. And do about 10 there. And make sure you're breathing out when you get to the bottom position there. Good. All right, and relax. Okay. Next thing what we're going to do is go after rotation of the thoracic spine. Okay, the thoracic spine needs to extend. All right, and it also needs to be able to rotate properly as well. Okay, so we're going to go up to that rotation. So what you're going to do next is place your head on this foam roller. Okay, and then we are going to keep our knees bent like so, and then we are just rotating like this and trying to bring our opposite arm down to the floor. Try not to let these knees come up too much. We want to try and keep those knees down. And we're just going to do a couple oscillations here. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put those in the comments. Happy to help. And our head should be following our moving arm. Do about 2 or 3 more of these. We're going to go and do the same thing other side. Good. All right, and the same thing other side. Make sure that you guys don't have any questions as we go along. Okay, again, knees are back, and then we're just rotating here. And you guys may notice that you have some restrictions, okay, or some asymmetries. You may also feel this in the low back a little bit too. If your low back's tight, that's okay. All right. See if you guys have any questions so far. Okay, awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and finish up by doing about 5 here. And then we're going to move on to lat mobility. The last one. Good. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the lat. So the lat is a super important muscle because it can limit shoulder range motion. I'll kind of explain how. So when we have our arms by our side here and we go to raise them up above our head, most of the shoulder motion occurs within the shoulder joint from here down to here. Okay, so from here, it's all in that shoulder joint. However, when we start getting overhead like this, our shoulder blades in the back actually have to rotate up. Okay, if they don't do that, it can change the biomechanics of how the shoulder moves, and it can cause some shoulder pain and discomfort. All right, and so that lat attaches at the corner here of that shoulder blade. All right, if that's tight, it's not going to allow it to rotate up. And if it doesn't rotate up, then we can get some pinching in the front of the shoulder, some shoulder impingement, and some other types of pain as well. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to go ahead and loosen that lat up. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of get into all fours position, like so. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to reach, we're going to cross our right hand over our left, and then reposition our left hand, and then we are going to sink down. Okay, bring our hips down closer to our heels. We should feel a good stretch in that lat on the right side. We're just going to hold this for about 30 seconds. So ideally, you want to be holding this for about 3 sets of 30 seconds. For time purposes, I want to make sure we get through as much variety as possible so you guys can utilize these and do them on your own as well. If you guys want to copy this mobility routine, go ahead and just, you can put in the comments. I'll put in the comments my email address as well as a link to our website where you can message us and just request the mobility routine. And I'm happy to send that over to you guys so you guys have a copy. And you guys don't have to memorize all this or watch a replay or any of that. Let's go and do the same thing other side. So again, we're going to get back into the all-four position. We're reaching the left hand over the right hand and then repositioning the right hand and sinking down. Now we should be feeling it in the left side. Again, none of these should be painful. All right, if they're painful, stop. Just means your body needs something a little bit different, or the area that we're targeting isn't actually the problem. There's 17 muscles that attach to the shoulder blade, okay, and in the and around the shoulder joint. So it means there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of moving parts. So there can be multiple things that are going on. All right, it might just usually this is a pretty big piece of the puzzle, at least. Okay, so that's one way to loosen up the lats. Next one I'm going to show you is kind of a more active way. So you can use a foam roller if you have it. If not, it's no big deal. Okay, this is just going to help us move. All right. What you can do is you can just use your hand on the floor if you don't have the foam roller. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to start with your thumb up. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sink down and try and bring your chest closer to the floor and rotate your hand, your palm up towards the ceiling and then back here. Palm up and sinking back down. Ideally doing about 10 reps of this. Some of you may feel a pinching sensation in the top, in the front of the shoulder. If that's the case, stop doing this. All right, it's not what we're looking for. Should feel a nice stretch in that lat or kind of underneath the armpit area. Do one more, and then we're gonna switch. Good. All right. Now, same thing, left side. Palm up, and then as we bring our chest close to the floor, we want to be rotating that palm up. Do 3 more. And relax. Okay, so the best way to loosen up a muscle, whether it's for the shoulder joint or anywhere else in the body, is a combination of stretching as well as foam rolling. Okay, so what we want to do next is go after that lat with the foam roller. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay on your side, okay, and you're gonna place this underneath your armpit, okay, on your side, and then you can support your head like this, okay, you can keep your arm out to the side, all right, and what we're gonna do is this can be kind of uncomfortable, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna rotate back and kind of open up and then back forward. Just kind of roll on that lat. Shouldn't be hard to find a tender spot. This one's can be pretty intense. Okay, and if you find a tender spot, you can just pause and hold on that for about 30 seconds, 10 to 30 seconds. Then you can go back to doing oscillations. You can bring your chest back forward, open back up. With foam rolling, we shouldn't be foam rolling for more than a minute or two for each muscle that we're trying to target. See, a lot of people overdo foam rolling a lot, and it can actually cause more irritation at that area. Let's go and do the same thing on the other side. And again, you guys can see if there's any asymmetries going on. Again, if you find a tender spot, you can just pause on it. So by pausing on it, what we're doing is we're decreasing blood flow to that area. So a muscle cannot contract unless it's getting blood flow. Okay, that's one key component to getting that muscle to contract. And so when we go ahead and pause and hold on that, it decreases the blood flow. If we decrease that blood flow, that muscle can't contract as much. If it's not contracting, that it has to release. Okay, that tight muscle has to release a little bit. All right, and relax. Okay, so those are five of the best exercises to decrease majority of shoulder pain. Okay, all right, but I hear a lot of people that just keep doing mobility, stretching, foam rolling, stuff like this, and it feels better. I hear complaints all the time that it feels better for a day or two, and then it's back again. All right, and they feel like they just get in this rut of doing mobility every single day. They say to me, they're like, feel like I have to warm up for 30 minutes before I can actually even get to my workout, and then I have to do 30 minutes of stretching or foam rolling at the end just to feel normal. And and then I only get 30 minutes of my actual exercise. So like I'm spending way more time actually just doing mobility and stretching than my normal workout, right? And so one, it can be that you just don't have the right mobility routine. Two, it can be also that there's underlying issues, especially if you're having pain associated with within the shoulder joint. Okay, our shoulder joint wants stability. If it's not getting stability from the correct muscles, it's going to start pulling from any and recruiting any and every muscle that it can. Okay, even muscles that aren't supposed to be providing stability. So if we have weakness, other muscles start compensating, and they continuously, repeatedly get tight. So if we treat the root issue of it and get to the cause of it, then we can start making progress, and we don't have to be doing so much mobility work day in and day out just to maintain some level of normalcy and pain-free lifestyle and stuff. Okay, so I'm super passionate about this because I hear so many people that have gone and helped so many people that have gone through their everyday life and working out and not being able to do everything that they want to. You know, whether it's playing with their kids, just reaching overhead, sleeping at night, working out, reaching overhead for rock climbing, you know, working out with regards to bench press, shoulder press, stuff like that. Like these are things that I avoided for 2 or 3 years, and you know, within 2 or 3 sessions, they're back to doing all those things, pain free. And they're like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done this sooner because it was such an easy fix. All right. A lot of times I hear so many people that tell me that, oh, I just went on YouTube and searched best exercise for shoulder pain. All right. That's just kind of a cookie cutter approach. A lot of times you need more of a detailed assessment to figure out what is exactly is going on with that. All right. So like I said, this is what we specialize in, is helping people with shoulder pain get back to working out and exercising pain-free. So I'm going to do something special today. So if you guys sign up for initial evaluation, you get 50% off for today only. So make sure to take advantage of that. And again, I will put a link to our website in the comment section, as well as our email address if you want to take advantage of that. Again, that will expire at 6:00 p.m. today. If you have questions about that, we'll hop on the phone and we can talk about that as well and make sure that we're a good fit for you before we actually have you come in. All right, don't want to waste your time. All right, and then if you guys do want that mobility routine that we just went over, I'm happy to send that over to your email as well. Just reach out through my email or our website. All right, but yeah, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. All right, we've had really beautiful weather lately, so hopefully that'll be the same for today and going into the weekend. All right. Stay safe and stay healthy, guys.